Powered by Sports Interaction, Canada Sportsbook.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Game Over Winnipeg. My name is Brady. I will be your host here on a night where the Winnipeg Jets eke out a absolutely must-win game against the Florida Panthers. Definitely not a perfect game. That game should not have gotten to overtime. Some things looked better for the Jets, some things worse. We're going to talk about the entire game. We're going to break it down goal by goal. We're going to talk about some standout performances, notably by a guy named Vlad Nemestikov and a guy named Nick Ehlers. Hats off to Mark Scheifele for icing the game, getting it done. All around, not the best game by the Jets, but like I said, a win's a win, and they very much needed one. Shout out Connor Hellebuyck too. Anyways, we're gonna get into that, but before we do, want to bet? They get in on the action at Sports Interaction. The boys of summer are back on the diamond, and March Madness is on deck. Bet pregame, live, and play are on one of our many prop bets. Sports Interaction makes it easy to deposit, play, and cash out. Head to sportsinteraction.com/SDPN, or in Ontario, download the game now using the QR code at the bottom of the screen. 19 plus, please play responsibly. If you have any issues with that, please do consult the resources in the description. That is first and foremost the most important thing. Alrighty, guys, 5-4 win against the Panthers, against Paul Maurice and his South Florida Panthers, in a game where the Jets get outshot 48-27. This was a very a classic Winnipeg Jets win here tonight. The game went back and forth. A lot of stuff to talk about here. I would love to know if you guys are in chat. Please let me know who you think deserves some players of the game here. Let me know what your shout-outs are, because I'm really interested to see who you guys thought were the best players. But tonight for me, this game was a Vlad Nemestikov special. Wow, just a fantastic game by him. He gets 2 goals, an assist, he has 3 shots, and he just saved multiple goals against the Jets. Like, he had an absolutely phenomenal game. Connor Hellebuyck, I mean, how many times have the Jets let 45 plus shots against and still end up being the reason for the win? As Noah Lafort says in chat, Helly is the reason we won. Frosty Winnipeg is giving his shouts out to Apples. I thought Apples had an actually pretty good game. The third line looked really was playing really hard. Even in the bottom 6, there were a lot of weird standout performances. Like even Kevin Stenlin, where did his hands come from? This guy came out of nowhere. So many nice dangles here tonight. And like I said, the third line played very hard. I always got to give my shouts out to Morgan Barron. I love that guy. He's always playing hard for the Jets. Doesn't always get rewarded on the score sheet, but he looked good tonight as well too. All right. So, before we come in, I think this is a good game to break down kind of as the game went on. And I feel like with that, we'll touch on some important things like the power play, as well as, the other guys who had fantastic games. But let's set the scene here, of course. The Winnipeg Jets, have been on a pretty big losing skid. The most obvious thing to point out, I mean, They lose some games that they maybe shouldn't have. Against, for example, the game against the Sharks, that should have been an absolutely easy win. That should be a schedule win, especially the way the Jets played that game. They absolutely outshot the Sharks. But unfortunately, some poor decisions in the end, near the end of the game, and they let that one go. It goes to overtime, and then they end up losing. The game just the other night against the Wild, where the Jets played really well. They outshot the opponents. The Minnesota Wild on a night where the Minnesota Wild played the night before, and yet the Jets still get absolutely shit kicked. A lot of issues with some coaching decisions. If you listen to my show after the Wild game, you'll know that I had a bit of a breakdown, a bit of spiraled a little bit out of control just based on some of the coaching decisions that have been made as of late. And then we, come into this game where it's the start of a 3-game road trip. against some pretty difficult opponents. We have, obviously, Florida Panthers tonight. Tomorrow we have the Tampa Bay Lightning. Then they head over to Carolina to play the Hurricanes, and then they come back home and play the Boston Bruins. So the Jets unfortunately made it so that they need some wins on this road trip. I mean, no matter what, they obviously want to win on the road trip, of course. But just the fact that they gave up so many points over the past little bit, I mean, they had 2 wins in their past 11. This is, crunch time, and they're not making it easy on themselves when they have to get, much needed points against some more difficult opponents than points that they left on the board. So unfortunately, to start off, we get the news that Pierre-Luc Dubois unfortunately will not be joining the team for obviously tonight against the Panthers, as well as tomorrow in Tampa, and they're hopeful that he can maybe rejoin the team in Carolina. So that's a big loss, of course. We found out it was a different injury than what he was nursing before. It had to do with some sort of weird hit. It looks like it was maybe his ribs. I'm not sure, but like I said, upper body injury. So at least it's not what was hurting him before that maybe got re-injured. Instead, it's just something else. So hopefully he'll be back sooner than later because the Jets definitely need him. But in the meantime, Vlad Namestnikov, again, back up in the top 6, playing center for Nikolai Ehlers and Blake Wheeler, and just had a phenomenal game. Again, we'll go through the game and just talk about it, but like I said, 2 goals, an assist, 3 shots. He saved multiple goals against. He was a huge factor in tonight's game, and he's been one of the best Jets players since joining the team. So again, I guess I got to give a shout out to Chevy because he was a good addition. I just wanted more, but that's, again, we've already kind of covered that, so no need to again. Other than that, though, lineup change wise, everything stayed pretty much the same, except and including Logan Stanley staying in the lineup because he scored last game, which I barely even talked about on last show because I got so bent out of shape over a bunch of stuff. But anyways, he's back in the lineup here tonight again. In must-win games, I still don't think that he was the right player to play tonight. I would much rather Dylan Samberg. He's a sturdier defenseman. He actually plays defense well. He gets in stick lanes, whereas Logan Stanley is just kind of big in there. We'll talk about his gaff on one of the goals against here tonight. But yeah, so that's kind of coming into this game, and the Jets start off okay, I would say. They have a good start by the Lowry line. Obviously, starts the game off. They start with some good ozone time, but then already the cracks are starting to show. Simple things like little passes in the neutral zone. Blake Wheeler tries to give a pass over to Nick Ehlers. He passes it behind him. Again, neutral zone turnovers are one of the biggest enemies of the Winnipeg Jets. Luckily, Hellebuyck makes a big save on Carter Verhaeghe. And then, at about 14 minutes into the game, the Jets end up getting a power play. Brandon Montour cross-checks Saku Maenalainen a little bit high. Regardless, Jets go to the PP. Before this, though, the Jets have 1 shot and the Panthers have 7. Get used to that, as this was a game where the Jets got heavily outshot. However, they did create a decent amount of chances, at least decent quality chances. But the power play, coming into tonight's game, the power play has been very bad, not good. And I was looking it up. I was going through each game. The past 6 games, the Jets had 2 power play goals, but they also allowed 2 shorthanded goals. So even on goals for and against, and that's over, I think, like 21 chances that they had. So not good. But in this one, the power play starts off. Josh Morrissey ends up getting a shot. Then the Panthers clear it out. The Jets try to break back in. They go offside. Then they start up again. They win the draw. Kyle Connor tries to break it in, drops it off to Blake Wheeler. It comes back out. And at this point, I'm sitting here very frustrated. This is exactly the problem that we've seen from the first power play. They cannot get the puck in. Nino Niederreiter, the only player who goes off for a change on the first unit. Nikolai Ehlers comes out. Josh Morrissey retrieves the puck in the defensive zone, makes a nice pass up to Nick Ehlers. Nick Ehlers with a clean zone entry with possession. Ooh, isn't that nice on the power play? You love that. What does it lead to? He makes a nice little drop pass over to Kyle Connor. Kyle Connor sends it over to Blake Wheeler. Blake Wheeler puts it back into the slot, and Mark Scheifele hammers it home. Oh my God. The power play scored. The power play scored. Nick Ehlers doesn't end up getting an assist on this because, like I said, it went in off a bunch of people. But oh my God, the zone entry is so important. It's so important. It's where all of this starts. I'm just insane. It's crazy to see what the first power play can do when they have a guy who just walks the puck into the zone with possession. So there's my spiel about Nick Ehlers needing to be on the first power play. Again, game keeps going on. The Jets keep getting outshot. Hellebuck makes some big saves. Tkachuk had like a breakaway. Again, Hellebuck playing huge. After like 2 turnovers in the neutral zone or in the offensive zone. Or sorry, at the blue line. My bad. Josh Morrissey ends up taking a holding the stick penalty, and the Jets end up having a pretty good PK. Mason Appleton almost scores off of a shorthanded goal from a nice pass from Lowry. Unfortunately, they don't get it. But then, hey, penalty kill is over. Second line is back out there. Nikolai Ehlers streaks in on the right side, and he doesn't miss those. He places a perfect shot right above Sergei Bobrovsky's pad on the far side. So good to see Nick Ehlers get a goal here. He's been struggling, and this is only his 6th of the season, I believe. He missed a lot of time, and so it's great to see him getting back out there. And again, when the Jets are shooting, pucks can go in. Crazy. So I'm just glad to see, good shots, everything, all good. Play keeps going on. The Panthers are breaking the puck out, and Kyle Connor does this slash onto Aaron Ekblad's knee and almost gets a 5-minute penalty for this. Ekblad goes down. I have no idea what happened here, or did he maybe push his knee in and it did a weird hyperextension? I don't know what happened here. This looked like such a non-issue. It's just a tap on the shin pad, right? But unfortunately, he goes down. They review it. Luckily, it is not a major penalty. It's just a minor. But unfortunately, man, Matt Tkachuk is an absolute jet killer. He ends up scoring on or off of a rebound. Get used to hearing that. He ends up putting himself in the net too. I think that should count for 2 goals almost. But again, it is 2-1. We're already starting to see the issues from the Jets here. Continuing on in the first period, Nikolai Ehlers ends up getting a breakaway. He gets high sticked. Again, the power play comes out. I'm going to keep talking about the power play and breaking it down each time. I made sure to take a lot of notes because that has been one of the issues for the Jets. But luckily, like I said, they end up scoring here. So, start of the power play, there's a battle down low. Florida ends up getting it out. Kyle Connor brings it in. He chips it in. Blake Wheeler ends up retrieving it, passing it around. Josh Morrissey gets a shot. Blake Wheeler loses the puck battle on the wall. It gets out. Nikolai Ehlers comes and gets a nice zone entry, but on the zone entry, he gets kneed, draws another penalty, while the first power play or the first penalty is still ongoing. The Jets get an empty net or get the pull Connor Hellebuck to get the extra man out there. So now it's 6-on-4. There's a nice play in behind the net. Kyle Connor passes it to Nick Ehlers, who is also below the goal line. He passes it out front to Vlad Nemestikov, his first of the night. Just a fantastic goal. Again, it's so nice to see the Jets scoring on the power play. The power play is something that can actually keep the Jets afloat. If the Jets power play is good, it can make up for the fact that they're unable to score at 5v5. So you got to get your goals from somewhere. So it's fantastic to see that they actually did well tonight on their power play. In general, first period was pretty okay. The Jets got outchanced. The shots were 19-8, but the Jets are scoring, so can't complain. And then again, I gotta give it to Nick Ehlers. 2 drawn penalties, gets a primary assist on the Vlad Namestnikov goal, and he scores his own goal at 5v5. The Jets are looking good. It's 3-1. Good start. Fantastic. Oh, let's take a look at the chat here before I continue on into the second period. How are we feeling tonight, Jets fans? Robert Sutton, Morrissey and Lowry both left the game. Not good. Yeah, that was very, very scary. We'll talk about Josh Morrissey unfortunately getting taken out. Let me see this. Lazy KO in the chat. How do you see Ehlers do that with PP1 and not give him the spot afterwards? I hope he's there tomorrow. Echoing my sentiment, man. I completely agree. I just don't really get it. And then Noah Lafort comes in with the quotes, as he always does. Morrissey and Lowry are both very doubtful tomorrow, so we're definitely going to see some lineup changes tomorrow. I would imagine Dylan Sandberg draws back in, as well as who would it be? If I guess they would probably move Gus into the center position on the 4th line, and they'll probably put like Kuhlman or Gagne in. We'll see. Anyways, thank you all for being in the chat. I really do appreciate it. It helps me out a lot on the show here. DH says Winnipeg wants Stanley off the Jets. I want Stanley off the Jets as well too. But alas, let's continue on here. So second period starts with the power play. They get no possession, nothing really important. DeMello ends up taking a penalty. He trips someone, and then this is where the second goal happens. And this one was a very frustrating one for myself. So let me just make sure. Okay, yeah, this is the one. So on this PK, Kevin Stanley gets a chance, almost scores a nice little goal. They make a big save. Hellbuck makes a couple of saves, and then the Jets kind of get this weird opportunity where they already have 2 forwards down low. Again, they're on the PK, so this is the issue. So they have 2 forwards in down low. Neil Pionk gets the puck and comes in and takes a shot. The issue here is that, as I said, the Jets already had 2 forwards in down low. In my opinion, when you're on the PK here, I get you want to go for the shot. I get you want to try and score. But maybe the smarter play here is to just throw it into the corner and let your guys battle because they're already in the corner, and waste more PK time. Unfortunately, that is not the case. Neil Pionk goes for the shot. The Florida Panthers corral the puck easily and come back up the ice 3-on-1. And Neil Pionk just cannot get back in time. But unfortunately, he is not the only issue on this goal here. Logan Stanley, man, I get it's a 3-on-1. I understand. So this is what happens is Sam Reinhart is coming in on the, if you're standing from the Jets goalie perspective, comes in on the left side. Logan Stanley's playing him mostly. He passes it across to Barkov. Helly goes across, cuts off the angle, and Logan Stanley is in front with Sam Reinhart. He doesn't box him out. He doesn't use his gigantic body to, make sure that he can't get in between him and his own net. He doesn't even, take his gigantically long stick and lift Sam Reinhart's stick or anything like that. He's just kind of standing there doing nothing at all. And so this is kind of a bit of I think the blame on this definitely goes to both Stanley and Pionk. Again, just an entire big issue breakdown. And unfortunately, Sam Reinhart puts the puck past Connor Hellbuck, and it is 3-2. The Jets cannot get away. Alrighty, just continuing on here. Jets keep, this second period was full of just breakdowns. Not a lot went well for the Jets, in my opinion, other than when they score. But there's a couple times where, in front, there's just a bunch of breakdowns. It starts off with this one where 4 Jets players are all in the middle of the ice. The puck ends up going to a Florida player who's kind of off to the side. He gets a clean shot on Hellbuck. Of course, Hellbuck is going to make that save. The Jets corral the puck again. Vlad Namestnikov gets it. And while he's looking for a pass out of the zone, a Florida player just comes in behind and pickpockets him and just takes the puck away from him. But he turns around, slashes the guy, breaks his stick, and he takes a penalty. But this is one where the Panther was literally right in front of Connor Hellebuck. Like, this could have easily been a goal. So that's a penalty I don't have an issue with him taking, but the issue is that it got to that point, So that was frustrating. Luckily, the Jets have a big kill. Connor Hellebuck makes a bunch of saves. Then he makes this huge cross crease save. Connor Hellebuck had a fantastic night tonight. But then the Jets just really start having issues. They are unable to get the puck out. Luckily, eventually they do get the possession in the opposing zone, and then they have a draw where for some reason Vlad Nemestikov wasn't taking the draw. I'm not sure if he got kicked out. I missed it, unfortunately. But Blake Wheeler goes in to take the draw on the right side. He wins it clean, right to Nikolai Ehlers. Nick Ehlers takes a shot, and Vlad Nemestikov, right on the rebound, puts his second one of the night home. As an ex-Lightning player, I'm sure he loves scoring in the Panthers barn. He goes up to the boards and, hits right into the Panthers fans. Love that for them. 4-2. And the Jets are still winning. So, the big issue is they need to lock this down. Jets get a couple more chances before the end of the period. There's the one where David Gustafsson is in front of the net and gets a pass from Kevin Stenlund. Unfortunately, he kind of locked skates with Bobrovsky and falls down before he's able to open up for the shot. Barron gets a nice tip off a Brendan Dillon shot. And amidst all of this going on, Josh Morrissey leaves the ice, favoring his left hip, and that is scary for the Jets. Like I said, this was an all right period, I guess. They still maintain their 2-goal lead. But boy, oh boy, they really got to tighten up. And I was sat here, I tweeted out, the Jets absolutely need to close this one out. You can't have a breakdown and lose the lead again. But boy, oh boy, who could have guessed it? Who could have seen this coming? 33 seconds into the third period, the Panthers get a 4-on-2. Mark Stahl shoots. Hellebuck gets a piece of it with his glove. Unfortunately, doesn't get all of it. Trickles in. And it is 4-3, 33 seconds into the period. Luckily, though, we're sitting here all fat and happy, oh, look, Josh Morrissey's back. Thank God. He plays one shift, and it was this shift here. And unfortunately, that is it for him. He goes off the ice, and his night ends there. And as Noah Laforte said in the chat here, very unlikely that he will be playing tomorrow. So it's going to be a big game for the Jets. We'll see how they do, but alas, the game keeps going on. Third period's going on. The Jets are up 1. They're trying their best to hold on to it. Duclair almost scores a one-handed goal almost right after the last one. Helly makes a big save again. He was huge tonight. The only reason the Jets won, really. And then Eric Stahl gets probably one that he is going to see in his nightmares tonight. They throw the puck in off the boards. It bounces out in front as Hellebuck is going in behind his net to try to stop the puck. And Eric Stahl has a wide open cage in front of him. He goes to shoot it, and we thought initially that Connor Hellebuck made a paddle save on it. Nope, just turns out he missed the net. He just missed the net. So very, very scary. But the Jets maintain their lead, still trying to hold it out. And then this is when we get the Mark Scheifele hit on Gustav Forsling. Man, that was a huge scrum that came out of it. And I'm actually going to sit here and applaud the refs. They got this call correct. Initially, there was no call on the ice, except for after the scrum breaks out and Logan Stanley and I think Ryan Lomberg end up getting the roughs. But then we see Mark Scheifele sitting in the box, and I'm sitting here like, the ref who was standing there didn't put his hand up at all. Initially, I thought that Scheifele kind of slew-footed him and kind of not tabletoped him, but pushed him kind of over his knee, which was behind him. But I was wrong. I was incorrect. As we see the breakdown, the refs end up calling it properly, where they give him initially a 5-minute major because the player on the Panthers was injured. Gustav Forsling, that is, of course. And in reviewing it, because you can actually review a 5-minute penalty, The refs end up going, yeah, he actually didn't do anything. Gustav Forsling, takes his arm. He tries to get ahead of I almost said Hellebuck, of Scheifele, and is unable to, muscle him off the puck. And he just ends up falling. Like, this is just a pure battle where one guy loses his footing. They're both going in with speed, and it looks really bad. It looks scary. And I completely get why the Panthers all jumped, Scheifele. But hey, it is what it is. And then it goes to 4-on-4, which honestly is probably not the best for the Jets, considering, 4-on-4, there's more ice out there. And almost immediately, the Panthers start to cook. This was super scary for me. They get a bunch of chances, and then, Anthony Duclair, in front of the net gets a pristine opportunity. Definitely another one that could have been a goal. Vladimir Meskov takes another, oh my god, I have to take this penalty or else you're going to score penalty, where he hooks him. But unfortunately on the 4-on-3, Matt Tkachuk, that god freaking, he's just a jet killer. Ever since he was on the Flames, him and Scheifele always go at it. He was fantastic tonight for the Flyers. Or not, the Flyers. The Panthers. I read FLA, which is my little thing for Florida, and that's where I got the Flyers. Anyways, it's 4-4, and again, who could have seen this coming? This is like the Jets to a T. The game keeps going on, and oh my god, the entire rest of the third period was just the Jets trying to hold on for dear life. I can't blame them. You do need to at least get the 1 point, but it's a little frustrating when you see like Adam Lowry and like the fourth and third lines going out to try and lock down a tied game when the Panthers are, again, it would be beneficial for them to get to OT as well, but they're like, no, we want to win this game. The more we press, the sooner we score, the sooner we can win. So again, the Jets end up just keep putting out their third and fourth lines, but they end up locking it down and they get to OT. Whew. And then the Winnipeg Jets end up starting out, again, no Josh Morrissey for a majority of the third period. So I will say it is good on the Jets to be able to get to OT just based on the fact that they didn't have their top D-man. But regardless, it is what it is. I would have much rather them actually, stop this Panthers from scoring, but here we are. Mark Scheifele, Kyle Connor, and Neil Pionk end up starting for the Jets. They end up getting a really early chance where Neil Pionk kind of pickpockets the puck from one of the Panthers in behind the Panther goal, and he does this long, drawn-out kind of wraparound. Unfortunately, Bobrovsky is able to stop it. The Panthers go back down, and the first line for the Jets is absolutely gassed. And then Sam Reinhart misses an absolutely open net. He gets a pass across, and Hellebuck doesn't get it across in time, but he just completely misses a wide open cage. Again, that's 2 goals that the Panthers could have had on wide open nets where they just missed the net. It would really, that would change the game completely. The game ends up going back and forth, back and forth. The one thing I want to say, though, is Blake Wheeler was out for OT, and it seemed like all he was doing was just trying to get his shift done with. He wasn't pushing to try and score, but he was just trying to, again, prevent the other team. I just feel like 3-on-3 is such a fast-paced game that Blake Wheeler should not be on the ice. But alas, I digress. I'll stop complaining. But hey, Jets end up winning it, am I right? Mark Scheifele scores his 39th, I think? His 39th of the season on a beautiful pass from Kyle Connor. In all honesty, I saw this one coming. This one was one where you could just see into the future. The way Kyle Connor ends up cutting on the left side, and you see immediately that as he's starting to go towards the net, Mark Scheifele ends up beating his D-man, getting in behind him, and good work on Scheifele. Good pass from Kyle Connor. They looked a lot better tonight, I will say, than they have in the past, although I still think that the first 2 lines could use a little bit of a shakeup. But hey, that's a win, baby. 2 points. That's all you got to get. It's all you can say. And again, the fact that the Panthers got the OT point doesn't matter. They're in the East. Who cares? So yeah, good game by not good game, but decent game by the Jets. The positives, the real positives here. One, guys who are filling in are carrying their weight. Vlad Nemestikov looked great in that second line role. When people come back healthy, if he is not in the top 6 over Blake Wheeler, I will be upset. What else? The power play ended up scoring again. Given the fact that Nick Ehlers was a key part of that first goal. But they did score another one later on where, again, Nick Ehlers was a key part of that one. So I really think that he should be on the top power play unit. Please, Rick Bowness, I am begging you. It will help you, I promise. But yeah, so some good things to look at, but at the same time, the Jets gave up 48 shots. Can't be doing that every night, and that's probably one of the reasons why we've seen that Connor Hellebuyck has been a little bit less good as of late. He's been hung out to dry a lot of times by the Jets this season. So it'll be interesting to see what they do tomorrow. I would imagine Dave Riddick is in the crease tomorrow in a very tough game against the Tampa Bay Lightning. Also worth noting that the Panthers did play yesterday and still were able to absolutely take it to the Jets. So I'm looking for no excuses tomorrow. But yeah, Jets end up getting a much needed 2 points in South Florida. They go a little bit up north towards the to go see the Tampa Bay Lightning, where they will be playing tomorrow. Should be a tough game, especially if you have no Morrissey and no Lowry, but we'll see what the Jets can do. And then it's on to Carolina after that, and then Boston. So the Jets haven't made it easy for themselves to continue getting points or to stay up in that race. But luckily, the Flames lost yesterday, but they will be playing again tomorrow. The Jets gain a little bit of ground on both the Oilers and the Colorado Avalanche, but are still behind, unfortunately. So, got to keep going. That's all I can say, The Jets need to keep their foot on the gas. They need to keep getting points, and we'll see how they can do. But anyways, thank you all for joining me here tonight. This was a fun one, kind of a tough game to really break down. There's not a lot you can say about everything other than the power play finally scored. Nick Ehlers got some points. Vlad Nemestikov looked real good. And the Jets win an OT. But like I said, I'll be back here tomorrow. I'll be joined by a fantastic guest here with Brian Finlayson. I think that's how you pronounce his name, Finlayson. He'll be joining me tomorrow night. He is on the Level Flight podcast, another Jets podcast. So tune in with me tomorrow. It should be a much more fun back and forth conversation that we'll have rather than me just kind of spewing out facts of the game. But yeah, like I said, thank you all for joining me in chat here. Follow me on Twitter at NHL Chunky. Follow at SDPN Sports. Check out mine and Lys's other podcast, Can't Teach Size, where at some point we'll hopefully have another episode come out. But yeah, anyways, thank you all for tuning in. Have yourselves a wonderful evening. Enjoy your Sunday, and I will see you guys tomorrow.
Game over! Powered by Sports Interaction, Canada Sportsbook.